Great to be here with you. I first want to thank Jason of Gives and Hawks for showing that video, which clearly showed how I and other American men get dressed every morning. So I want to thank Jason for that. We need you in America. Please come. I want to talk to you about a revolution, a battle and a revolution. The battle is over the last mile. The battle is over the customer relationship. And the revolution that's happening right now is being mediated by companies I call the one-yarders. I'll explain later why I call them the one-yarders. Companies that are focused on same-day delivery, 1-hour delivery, 2-hour delivery. I want to describe to you the revolution that's happening and how it's going to disrupt category after category of retail. It's not going to disrupt all retail. You heard from Sky a number of categories that it will not disrupt, but I'm going to talk to you about major categories that it will disrupt. So first, let me start with this slide. I start with this slide because it's required for every presentation in a technology conference to have a slide on mobile. And this slide, as you heard today, demonstrates the rise not only of mobile phones in general, but of the smartphone, enabling all kinds of new opportunities and services. And specifically today, I'm going to talk to you about these kind of companies. On-demand, immediate delivery. Let me ask some questions here of the audience. Many of us here may not have used these services yet, but all of us are familiar right now with getting things on demand. How many people here have ordered online with Just Eat or Hungry or various websites to get takeaway food? Right? Okay, great. How many people here have actually used one of these kinds of sites to order something that was not takeaway food? Anyone here has done that? Examples? Back there?
Amazon.
No, but immediate, same-day delivery.
Yeah, Amazon in London, they deliver.
Good. Okay, good. We're going to talk about that. Other examples?
The guy mentioned earlier called Fragile, something or other. Just the same day click and it's on its way.
It's on its way right now.
Hopefully it'll be there when I get home.
Right now. Good. Other examples, same day?
50-inch TV from Argos in an hour and a half.
So Argos will be an hour and a half, and that was mediated by a company called Shuttle, which we're going to hear from today. The CEO is here today. So some examples, most of us have experienced that in the food category. A few of us are starting to experience that in other categories. And I contend that more and more of us, when we have this conference next year and the year after, every hand will be raised in each of those categories. eBay Now, Postmates, Amazon.com, same day as the gentleman back there has just ordered from, and Google Shopping Express, and there's 20 other companies now going for this. So I think actually we might have okay, I think we have a delivery right here. Okay, great. Want to welcome Emma and our courier. What is your name, sir?
Hamnet.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Where'd you come from?
Just from Shuttle.
From Shuttle Hotel Chocolat. So I pressed the button on this within the last 2 hours, ordering chocolates for everyone here in the audience. From Hotel Chocolat. Anyone here like Hotel Chocolat? Yep, okay, good. And they use a service called Shuttle, which you are part of, to bring this here today. And so you got the order on your mobile phone, and then you went to Hotel Chocolat about, what, 4 or 5 miles away?
Yeah.
Great. Which store did you go to?
Just I got it from Marfield.
Right? And then you came all the way here, right up the stairs, right here, deliver it to us right now. I want to thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Excellent. I have to sign for it. I have to sign for it. Okay. Thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you. Jack. Thank you. Would you mind? Yes. And we'll be distributing these chocolates while we talk. So we'll all be getting a sugar high during this conversation. Let me start actually with a number of the brands in the space and then come back to Shuttle as well. Postmates. Postmates is now in 11 cities across the United States. It's in New York, San Francisco, LA, Atlanta, many other cities as well. Postmates will do 1-hour delivery. You can go online, order from thousands and thousands of restaurants, shops, stores, Best Buy, Home Depot, all kinds of different places, clothing stores, anything you wish. And here's what's critical. Does Postmates have a relationship with that store? Answer. No. Postmates has no relationship with that retailer. None whatsoever. When they walk into the shop, they order the food or they buy the piece of clothing on your behalf with their credit card. The retail store has no idea what just occurred, the fact that this Postmates is doing it on your behalf. That is purchased, brought to your household, brought to your office. You then receive it. Your credit card is on file with Postmates and then is charged post facto. So what has that retailer lost? They've lost you. They've lost that transaction information. They've lost the ability to follow up. They've lost the email. They have no ability. My team and I have now tested Postmates in 5 cities across the states, over 250 transactions. Not one iota of information, follow-up from the retailers underlying because they could not. There's no knowledge there. Postmates, on the other hand, sends us emails every single day telling us what a great customer we are. Notice, by the way, Postmates has that Uber-like functionality. Also, Shuttle has it as well, where you can track the courier. You know exactly where they're going. And let me add one additional thing. Postmates is not just a simple buy and then deliver. You can ask them to do 5 things at the same time. Pick up this particular faucet. This is a real live example from my own life. Pick up this faucet from my house, this faucet I cannot find the exact screw for to screw it back on. Take it to the Home Depot, which is a store for home improvement, DIY home improvement, and find the right screw, asking the gentleman or person at the store which screw is the right screw. Buy that screw, bring it all the way back, and deliver it back to my house. It was done within 45 minutes. So these kinds of more complex tasks are now being performed by folks like Postmates. But it doesn't stop there. A year ago, we predicted that Postmates would go the next step. What is that next step? Well, you might say, what kind of business model is this, Jack? Postmates. Okay, so what are they going to get? $6 in order delivery fee, $8 in order delivery fee, $10? Why is that a business? It's great for you, the consumer. How is that a business? The answer is what Postmates just announced a few weeks ago. They just announced the Postmates General Store and, perhaps more importantly to this crowd, the Postmates Liquor Store. And the Postmates Liquor Store, no longer does that Postmates, when you order a bottle of vodka or a bottle of wine or 10 bottles of wine, no longer do they go to the retailer, your friendly local wine shop, to purchase that wine and then deliver it to you, giving that business at least the transaction to the retailer, not the information, but at least the transaction. They now have their own distribution center in these cities, allowing them to buy wholesale, stock, and what are they doing that on the basis of? Of the 2-3 years of being in existence, of the big data they have, of all the wine that we've purchased in New York City or in LA or in San Francisco, or Postmates may be coming to London soon as well. And so they're doing the same thing now with general goods. They used to go to Walgreens, they used to go to CVS, they used to go to our equivalent to Boots in the US when you ordered toothpaste and those kinds of toiletries and pharmaceuticals. But now they don't do that anymore. They have the Postmates General Store. They stock the 3,000 most requested items in their general store. So they've cut out the retailer. They're taking that 55% margin on many of those items. Now they have the transaction, they have the margin, and they have, most importantly, the information, the relationship. Let's look at Instacart. Instacart is now in a dozen cities across the US. I use it every single day. They go on my behalf to Whole Foods. We have Whole Foods here now in London. And they go and they purchase. And when they're purchasing on my behalf, all the cart that I suggested to them, that I asked them for, they text me while they're there. Jack, attention. You asked for this kind of organic apple. This kind of organic apple is out today. Would you like this kind of organic apple? On demand, immediate, and I text back, yes, no, so on and so forth. And the stuff within 1 hour, 90 minutes, is not only at my house. I asked my doorman to let them up. They put it in the fridge. Shut the door, leave the keys, thank you very much. I know who these people are. I have ratings on them, very much like Yelp, Uber, so on and so forth. We know who they are. There's a trust relationship, and I can follow up with them later if I need to. And so these kinds of services are quite distinct from the kind of delivery that we had before. Let's look at the next slide. eBay Now. eBay Now is another fascinating case. eBay Now actually, over this weekend past, just now, just changed from an app to a mobile web and regular website. eBay Now is in a number of cities across the states. And eBay Now, again, allows you to shop at any one of 140 different retailers. Now, in this particular case, they're supposed to be giving my information and sharing that with the retailer. There is a relationship in this case between eBay and the retailer. But I can tell you in over 100 tests that we have conducted, I have not received any follow-up email, no CRM, no information from any of the retailers. We tried all the retailers you see there. So there's something missing in the middle. The retailer probably may be getting that email, but may not have the CRM systems. I know there's like a salesforceperson.com here, right? Okay. Maybe they need help putting that together. And eBay now, of course, recently bought Shuttle. You'll hear from Tom, the CEO. Let him talk about Shuttle. Shuttle is a fantastic service. It's across the UK. It's now in many cities in the US as well. And Shuttle is working in partnership with eBay, in partnership with the retailers. And so I said to some of the retailers, to the heads of a major electronics, big box chain store, the head of another one as well, I said, why are you working with such delivery services? They said, well, we have to try it. We have to check it out. I said, why don't you do it yourself? You've gone all this way. You've spent billions and billions of dollars to build out your stores, to have people in khaki pants and blue shirts in Best Buy helping you. And now the last mile comes, and you don't want to launch Best Buy Express? You don't want to launch something that would own the customer at the last mile, own that customer relationship, and maybe purchase things even not from Best Buy? Whatever the customer needs, and become that consumer service for them? And quizzical looks came back. And so I think that this revolution right now is happening, but many of the retailers do not realize exactly the implications of this, because these implications are very large. There will be many categories not necessarily affected by this. People will still want to go to certain shops and try on clothing. But I contend with you today that these 1-yarders, having Best Buy do the 99 yards of work to bring it down the field, and doing the final work, that 1 yard of work to take it in, these retailers will be massively disrupted, particularly those in commodity items. So I contend and I share with you that I think there'll be 2 buckets of retail. One bucket of commoditized items. We're seeing that now in office supplies and electronics, certain kinds of clothing, not high-end clothing, but certain basics where you know your size, you know what you like from a particular kind of retailer where it's very standardized. And other kinds of categories that will not be as affected by this. But let me tell you, the ones that will be are multiple billions of dollars. We're already starting to see the inkling of this, but I can tell you, even in the US, the number of people who've tried any of these 20 services is still very low. This is something that is coming. We're watching. It is growing very fast. These companies I just mentioned to you are each gaining huge amounts of venture capital. $50 million, $60 million, $70 million of infusion in the past year. And so they have the wherewithal to grow and grow fast. And then we look at Google, not to be left out. Google Shopping Express. You heard before about Google Now. This is Google Shopping Express. And so Google has physical vans in cities, picking things up for you, buying things at retail, and again, just like Instacart, just like Postmates, just like eBay Now, not using your credit card, not using your information. Instead, using their credit card and then charging your credit card later. They have your details. They now have a very good picture, not only of what you bought from that particular store, but of all the things that you've bought. They now have a wider picture. And they can now match that with other data they have about you from social media, from other places, and actually form a more complete picture than any one retailer can ever form. This is powerful stuff. Let's now talk about Amazon. The gentleman in the back ordered something same day. And so Amazon has been quietly building this infrastructure. Amazon decided to settle with the attorneys general of New York and of the other states. And they said, we will collect sales tax. They were sued for not collecting sales tax. And their contention was, we don't operate in the states. We only operate in Washington State, where our headquarters is. But they decided to go ahead and collect sales tax. And the implication of that is that now they have freedom to operate in every state. And now they're here in London as well. But what you see now is 12 centers around America where they do same day. Not 3,000-4,000 items for same day, as Postmates might have, but 500,000 items live today in these 12 cities. Order by a certain time in the morning, it's there in the afternoon. And so Amazon Prime is $99. How many here are members of Amazon Prime? Many of us are. We love Amazon Prime. You get 2-day delivery free. You get download videos. But now Amazon Prime Fresh, $2.99. You get all the benefits of Prime. Sounds like a museum membership, all those benefits, plus, same-day delivery is free. And so as we move to this type of era when we can order all these things, here you see groceries. In a number of these 12 cities, you can actually order groceries now same day within a few hours. In other cities, it's not groceries yet, but 500,000 other SKUs, growing and growing and growing every single day. And again, using their big data. Who better than Amazon would know exactly what to stock just in time in your particular city? They're very, very good at this. And they know exactly what to do around this issue. And so when we think about Amazon and their ability now to come in, we now have two flanks on this attack. We have the eBay Nows and Postmates and Instacarts coming at retail and particularly these commoditized areas from one flank. And now we have Amazon coming from the other flank. This is going to be very, very difficult to overcome. I contend this is a much more difficult hurdle than just Amazon Web 2-day e-commerce has presented. When you're a retailer and you see that 2-day retail, you can fight back. You can say, I will create a tremendous experience on a website, I'll have mobile, I'll engage, I'll do all the right things, and many retailers have done exactly that. But this is a different story altogether. This is now the loss of the customer relationship itself. And this is the gaining by those companies of more information across all patterns of behavior and consumption than they've ever had before. Amazon Fresh is also now working with retailers initially. So they're saying to retailers, we'll help you do the last mile. How kind of Jeff Bezos. How charitable of Jeff Bezos. I mean, this is very high-minded stuff to help the retailers. But in fact, what is he after? What is he after? Why is he doing this? Answers, anyone? Customer data. It's customer data. And so they can use their infrastructure, the same-day infrastructure that I guarantee you will get tighter and tighter. Today they're discussing same day. In a year or two, it will be 3 hours. Within 2-3 years, it'll be 1 hour, 2 hour. This is where Amazon will go. It is marching very much towards that reality. It won't be for every single product of their 50 million products, but it'll be for those 500,000 to 1 million key products that you actually care about and want that instant gratification. Now, I know here in London, other cities, often you have click and collect. You buy it today, you pick up tomorrow. I can tell you from the impatient folks in the former colonies that we now are too impatient for that. And once people have tasted this, I can tell you they never go back. They use it more and more and more. The data is quite compelling. Once they have the ability to hit a button and have it delivered, and in fact, you might say, well, I live in a place where there's no doorman, there's no one to accept the package. Well, 10 companies, venture-funded or angel-funded, have now sprouted up in the States that are virtual doorman companies. They will stand there patiently, waiting at your door, accepting the package. And so these companies are initially sprang up, by the way, for Airbnb, because people show up at Airbnb places and need the keys and so on and so forth, but now they're being used for this as well. So there are solutions to that. And this, Amazon plus the disruptors I mentioned before, are a very potent combination. Let me mention Deliv. Sky mentioned Deliv, and I think Deliv is important. It's one of the ways that retailers might be able to fight back, to say, we're going to use Deliv, which they can private label, white label into their service and say, if you want something from the store that you just shopped at physically, or you want from online, we can deliver to you same day. So there will be attempts by the retailers to fight back. And I hope they do, because again, we all win in those cases. But many of the retailers that I have spoken to are not aware of the clear and present danger that some of these services represent. I just want to mention the rise of the algorithm. We don't have time to go into it today, but it's worth study. It's worth noting. I myself, 2 weeks ago, went back to my geeky roots and did a Python intensive weekend. I dreamt in Python the next day. It was not pretty. But Python for data science is one of the key tools now for data algorithms in science and data science. And it's something that I commend to you to think about, to look into, to hire somebody One of the companies here today mentioned that they have 70 people. Half of those are data scientists and engineers. That's the kind of investment it will take retailers and the disruptors to make this all happen. And so what might we see? Well, already gone are Tower Records, Blockbuster Video, all these different stores. And we can say, fine, we understand that. We understand that because these were digitized types of products. You can easily digitize the book and download it, the music, the film, so on and so forth. We understand that. That's a foregone conclusion. Now, it wasn't a foregone conclusion, by the way, to Blockbuster when we asked them a few years ago, but now it's a foregone conclusion. Going soon, Office Depot, Staples, Best Buy. Already we're seeing the cracks in the wall. Each of these companies saying that they have to now close various stores. What I predict is that, will there be no Best Buy in New York City? No. I think there will be a handful. They'll have to consolidate, they'll have to aggregate, and they'll have to offer better experience. There is a Best Buy on 14th Street near Union Square in New York City. Next time you visit, check it out. It has a music specialty. When you go in, there's a fantastic section that I visit to buy musical instruments, synthesizers, amps, and there are people who are populated in that particular little section of Best Buy who know exactly what they're talking about because they're musicians themselves. That's the kind of experience that people like Best Buy need. They need to replicate that for wearables and have people in white coats standing at your ready to explain how this wearable can now change your health life and things like that. But it's not really what's happening across most of these big box chains. Staples and Office Depot. What is the experience of buying office supplies? Not exactly a lot of value add, is there? And so these are the kinds of categories. And again, when we think clothing, I know a lot of people come and say, well, Jack, not clothing. No. Yes, I agree. A lot of clothing will not be disrupted by this. People do like the experience of going in and finding out and trying on and seeing and touching and feeling. I agree with that completely. But there's a growing trend among some demographics, young people particularly, to say, I know exactly what I need. My own brother, by the way, young brother, goes to Zappos on a once every 2-month basis and buys the same exact pair of pants and every 6 months buys the same exact pair of shoes. Many men, unfortunately, not shopping at Gives and Hawks, are in this pattern of buying stuff in that manner. They know exactly what fits them, they buy it in that manner. And if they can come same day, all the better. And so more and more of the categories will be commoditized. And I think we have to be very wary of that. If you're in retail, if you're thinking about retail, this is something that is coming in a very, very big way. So we look at the total numbers. Sky before shared with us that right now, all retail together combined in the US is about 7 to 9%, different numbers out there, depending on how you count it. But what happens if this really takes off and starts hitting those categories, these commoditized categories? What happens if it gets to 20%? I agree. I don't think this is going to get to 50% of all retail. But 20% is a very big number. It took us 20 years since the beginning of e-commerce to get to this 7 to 9% number. I contend that it will take us far fewer years to get to 20%. This disruption is coming, and there'll be implications not just for retail itself, but also for the real estate sector. Folks who have exposure, not so much in the enclosed malls, but in the open strip malls. People have exposure in terms of not the main high street, not the one that's essentially marketing, right, where a number of high-end brands, Prada and others, will have their flagship stores for marketing purposes. I'm now talking about the other high streets, the ones that are off city center. These are at risk. These are at risk because unless they're replaced by other kinds of experiences, maybe the pop-up shops, filling those awkward pauses in there, and others, they're going to be empty. And we're already starting to see signs of that across the US. So with that, let me encourage you to contact me anytime you want. Is my email, my Twitter handle. And I thank you very much. Thank you.
It's a great talk, Jack. Just let me ask you one question. Are you looking at this as an investor, as an entrepreneur? You've created businesses before. When you're doing your research, when you're ordering 150 items, what's the opportunity you personally see?
Well, I think there's two perspectives I'm using. One is, as a seed investor, I do very early stage seed investment. So we don't invest tens of millions of dollars at very, very early stage. And we look at these macro trends to help us inform us about what kind of trends to invest in. But the second actually is a public policy lens, which is jobs. And when we think about the retail sector, it's an enormous creator of jobs. There's lots of jobs tied up in retail today. And I think, and I fear, that if some of the major retailers don't hold on to this, don't understand that it's the customer relationship that is so critical, and do not give that up. Spend that extra 2-3 million quid just to create an express service to own that last mile, that actually more jobs might be saved in that sector. So I think those are the two lenses.
Jack Hidary, thank you.
Thank you.